I think what's been disappointing is that architects as a profession haven't really spoken up loudly about the genocide and haven't even called it a genocide. Architects for Gaza is a group of academics, practicing architects and other people who've come together to figure out how to help Gaza. So Architects for Gaza is working across a number of different scales and has been working for a long time actually on the kind of immediate reconstruction scale in Gaza. It is a form of activism clearly, and it's an advocacy for Palestine, for Palestinian continuity, for that culture and people to continue having a life in Palestine. Architects for Gaza has drawn on volunteers from all across the globe and with a really varying set of skills, which is amazing. It's a form of solidarity in itself, but I think it's also a form of knowledge sharing, finding out skills and knowledge sharing across the globe. Architecture can be a form of resistance, and it's a quite particular field of way of doing architecture. And there are particular methodologies which we use here and are used across the globe of community engagement, community empowering, designing with people rather than for people, working with what's there already, valuing what's there. Architecture is very often used as a tool of oppression or displacement, or more explicitly, as in Israel's case, as a kind of complete weapon of terror and destruction and displacement. Given the scale of the destruction, which is completely unprecedented, I think, an attempt to completely wipe out that culture and society. Given that level of destruction, it's very hard to imagine how you would reconstruct, and it would be easy to think of it as a clean slate and a tabula rasa. But really, people in Gaza do not think of it that way. There are lots of things that still exist and that persist through time. So the most obvious are cultural monuments that have heritage. That's the most obvious ones that one might think of as being something to preserve or to rebuild. But actually, street names, the layout of building blocks, these are important cultural things as well. They're familiar to people, they're what existed. And when you talk to people in Gaza, there's a real strong appetite to rebuild those and to retain those, and not to wipe away those things. So that's a conversation, that's a dialogue. And I guess the purpose of the work isn't to come up with a fantastic plan that you would just build tomorrow. The purpose of the work is to enable conversations to happen of people in Gaza or displaced from Gaza who are there. It's to allow them to have really informed conversations and generate that plan further. At the moment, I'm leading one team of volunteers, and we're looking at one particular site, and it's the site where there's the Yarmouk Stadium at the moment. That's land that's owned by the municipality, and it has a number of cultural facilities there. Most of them have been destroyed in the war, but the mayor really wants to understand a long-term vision for this site. And so we've taken that site and we're thinking of it in the longer term. The other really important aspect of the work is simply to broadcast and publicize the work and the thinking that's happening about that, that's based on a Palestinian identity or a Palestinian people thinking about their future. That's important because that message doesn't come across. It's swamped out by other voices having their own plans, their colonial plans for Palestine, and they tend to dominate the media, and we don't see enough of the actual act of Palestinians figuring out their own future, which they're very capable of and are busy doing. I'm clearly an outsider, and our work is to support that kind of locally based reconstruction and the visioning, which has to happen at every time scale, really short term, medium scale, and a longer term.